and I am back with another guide on Jade Temple. So let's get straight into it. Um, Normally we go to Mari, the left side first, and up to your group whether you want to do this massive pull on Tyrant weeks. I think it's, for the most part, fairly safe. This is a lust pull that we like to do. Um, Your DPS can line the Tainted Ripples. You can drag the boss to either down here, or the pack to down here, or there are these little ledges on this wall. There's like a ledge right there and another ledge right there. You can be inside this little ledge in this corner. Hard to kind of see, but it's essentially right here, on the left side of this little tick, and your melee can line on the other side. Um, Once again, up to you guys how you want to do it. It's absolutely fine to split the poll into two on Fort weeks. On Tyrant weeks, though, it does save some time. It's not too hard of a pull. Your group definitely needs to pop defensives to do it, but it should be fairly simple. And then coming into the first boss, there is a weak aura for this boss. To show the ticks on the water geysers. So definitely grab that. There are a lot of deaths to this first boss from just, carelessness, etc. It's a very simple boss though, otherwise. Alright, coming over here, you do want to invis this pack, or these two packs. The pandas have a lot of HP, and the dot they give from the throw torches absolutely truck your group. So normally we like to skip this, especially on 4 weeks. On Tyrant weeks, I do like to pull all of this together if possible. Usually though, we will pull just the two hunting shaws with the fish. Keep in mind, melees can solo kick shaw, the hunting shaws. However, you cannot solo kick the talking fish. You do need a double kick rotation for this, or your healer needs to be ready to dispel immediately. For the Songbird Queen, her pecs, vicious pecs, you can actually dodge these by stepping pretty much 5 yards away. Maybe a little bit more, 8 yards away. As you can see here, I guess it doesn't show the range on this, but you can definitely step away from it just a bit. She'll cast it maybe like 2, 3 times, something of the sort, before she starts casting the AoE circle territorial display. So if you want to dodge the bleeds, definitely do so, because the bleed does hurt quite a bit on 4 weeks. On 4 weeks, I would recommend you probably split this off a little bit. Usually speaking, you will have, Incarn for this pull right here. So you should feel pretty safe dealing with double hunting Shaw. Just again, the only way you kind of die is if the fish sleeps you and you're sitting in a full sleep. Now for the next pack, this one, keep in mind the staggering blow lowers your max HP, so even if you have Incarn for this, you can technically die, especially if you don't interrupt Fit of Rage, which increases his damage and attack speed. So keep that in mind. The Golden Beetle, in addition, will cast Golden Barrier probably around 3 times, something of the sort, before it starts going back to its staggering blow. And then same thing again, Golden Barrier 3 times. You can have a chain CC rotation for it to never have a Golden Barrier go off, but definitely would recommend killing the Golden Beetle first. The next boss, second boss, it does hurt quite a bit for Guardian Druid since it's pure magic damage, but should be pretty manageable with all your heals. Definitely rotate your defensives properly. Not too much else to say. This boss should be pretty manageable. Depending on your timings, we go into this next room. Usually you'll have Incarn at the start of this or somewhere around mid-pack of this. Usually I will pop it here. Same thing again, fairly simple pull. Dodge the frontals. The only thing is obviously the Shell Touch Guardian will cast Setting Sun Kick, reduces healing you receive by 20%. Not too big of a deal right here. Okay, now coming into this first pack, so this one pack is actually a little tricky because you don't have Incarn, and if the Setting Sun Kick and Dark Claw line up at the start, you can get one shot on a higher key. Um, just be very wary of the first set of Dark Claw plus Setting Sun Kick. That has killed me many times before. The reason why it's the first one is because obviously you don't have all your Moonfires out yet. You don't have your Tooth and Claw procs, your two-piece proc, things like that. You just don't have all of that up yet for damage reduction. So either pop a defensive for the first set or kite, take your pick. Do keep in mind Dark Claw is a fervent strike, which means if you are too far away, it can hit your melee with the Dark Claw, and that's a one shot. So be a little wary of that. And then on Tyrant weeks, we will do this kind of massive pull with 3 tank busters. Something of importance to note, the Dark Claw does a lot more damage than the Haunting Gaze. However, the Haunting Gaze is harder to dodge because it has a 20-yard range, while the Dark Claw only has, well, it doesn't show here, but it should be, I think it was 5 to 8-yard range. So you can definitely dodge the Dark Claw by just stepping away. When you see it's about to start casting, you step away. The healer needs to be wary since there will be a lot of little shaws. So there's 9 right here, plus I think it was 5 more from the investor. Normally for these tank busters, what you'll do is in Incarn, you pop Bark Skin. Well, you obviously have to have Incarn for this, but you'll be popping Bark Skin, Rage for one set of the tank busters, and then SI for another set, and then another set, SI again, and then if you're out, you can kite. But generally speaking, I think with 3 tank busters, you should be absolutely fine. Just popping Bark Skin, and then rotating to Rage the Sleeper, and then SI, and then SI. Should be plenty. Depending on how long this pull takes, you will have Incarn at the start of the next pull, or you will have Incarn like halfway through. So what you guys can do is you can start with this Minion of Doubt, or start with the right pack and then chain it into the next pack. I personally would like to start with the right side because again, Dark Claw hits harder. So I'll start with the next side, and you shouldn't need too many defenses for this side. Once your Incarn is back up, you chain it with this, and then you slowly drag it to pull the Mistweaver. Um, if you're low on kicks, kill the Mistweaver first, and then chain it into the bridge. Okay, so the big thing for the next boss, do not pop Incarn on pull, unless you know for a fact you will have it up again in phase 2. For the first phase, the Serpent Strikes leave a dot on you, needs to get instant dispelled. Generally speaking, it won't one-shot you, so I wouldn't personally pop defensives for the later sets. You can pop Barkskin, Rage of the Sleeper for the first 2. That is absolutely fine. But otherwise, I wouldn't pop it for the next few, like 3, 4, 5. Otherwise, you won't have them up um, in the next phase. So when the next phase starts, phase 2, so you obviously have the absorb shield. Usually I'll pop Incarn at the start of phase 2, and it'll last for 2 of the Serpent Strikes, the Jade Serpent Strikes that leave an absorb shield. Depending on how high of a key level you do and what your healer is, you may or may not have to pop a defensive. Generally speaking, I don't have to pop a defensive, but if you are getting to a key level where you have to, or your healer just isn't healing enough to break that absorb shield immediately, then you may want to run a different build where you have pulverize as well. Otherwise you kind of run out of defensives. So again, for the first two, Incarn should be fine if you have like a Holy Priest, Resto Druid, Evoker. They should be able to heal it off fairly quickly to where you won't actually die from the dot. And then after that, I'll usually pop a Bark Skin plus a Frenzy Regen. And obviously, again, during the Incarn, you're just spamming Frenzy Regens. Once you get it, you spam Frenzy Regen to heal it off. So for the third one, Bark Skin plus Frenzied Regen. Fourth one, SI plus Frenzied Regen. Fifth, SI Frenzied Regen. Six, if you get to a 6, you can Renewal Health Pot, or again, for any of the first 5, Health Pot Renewal as needed if your healer, falls behind or can't heal one off fast enough. Track your own health very closely. 6th one, you obviously also have your healer external, so definitely call for that. If you're running with an evoker, you can call for touch of death, or not touch of death, temporal displacement, the evoker external early, so you can call it on 1, and I believe it'll be back up on 5. So if you want to delay your incarn, if you know your phase 2 is slow, then you can delay your incarn by a set and just use like touch just temporal displacement on the first one, or bark skin even with the frenzy regen on the first one, and you can kind of offset the Jade Serpent Strike by 1. Um, but if it goes past 6, then you probably need to look for more DPS elsewhere. Usually we are able to phase the boss within 5. If it goes like anywhere to 7 or 8, your DPS are definitely struggling. Okay, so that's this fight. Now, I'm not going to talk too much about these packs. They're fairly straightforward. What I can say is, if you want, you can double pull this pack. You can sap one of the Mistweavers and double pull. Keep in mind, again, setting Sun Kick does fuck, so be ready to pop a defensive here. Sometimes I'll pop Incarn for this, depending on how high of a key level it is, and I will have Incarn back up again for this one. But that is very comp dependent, because my comp, I run with 3 casters, so this next pack kind of takes a little bit. Um, Usually they don't have that kind of consistent damage profile. Alright, so for this last pack, it is definitely very tricky. The way you want to do this one is, if you don't CC them, generally speaking, they will cast their tank busters one by one by one. Otherwise, what's going to happen is you will have the first tank buster, maybe one of the people in your group AoE stuns them, and then because they AoE stun them when they're about to cast tank buster, it'll start to sync up and you'll have double, sometimes even triple tank busters all at the same time. And that is fine. You can live it, okay? You can live this. Generally speaking, what I'll do in terms of rotating my defensives is you obviously start the pull with Incarn. I will normally let the first tank buster go off. I'll let it hit me without a defensive. I'll press a frenzied regen. And then when the second tank buster comes in, I'll pop both Barkskin plus Rage of the Sleeper. and that'll last through 2, 3, and 4, and you should survive it pretty easily. Not easily, but you should survive it as long as you're still pressing some frenzied regions in between. And then same thing for the next round of tank busters. First one, I'll let it off on me. And then when I hear 2, I have an audio cue for these as well. When I hear 2, I will press SI, and it'll last for 2, 3, and 4. So you have first set, Barksian plus Rage of the Sleeper. Second set is SI. Third set, SI again. Fourth set, you can start kiting. You can ask for TD, some kind of healer external. You can ask for that. It does need to be a big external. If you're playing with the Holy Paladin, it won't be enough. Actually, maybe it might be enough. This priest PS should be good enough. TD definitely is enough. Holy Priest GS probably is not enough. That is where I would recommend either kiting, or if you want to play a little risky, you can try to disorienting roar the tank busters to stop them. Typhoon to stop them. That is a very key thing with these packs where you don't have Incarn, specifically pack 10. You don't have Incarn for this, or 13. You don't have Incarn at the start. A very key thing is to stop the tank buster, not try to tank it. Disorienting roar, Typhoon. Stop them. And then for the last boss, this is just a general how to tank this boss. It does melee kind of hard, but honestly, it's fairly simple. Just rotate your bark skin. You should have it every phase. You have SI charges, frenzy regions. But during the intermission, I would recommend tanking the boss, at one of these corners so that all of the ads are grouped up. Something like there, or like all of your asses are to the door. And then when they all drop, you can actually vortex them, and your range go this way to kite. That way they don't get meleeed to death, because the last boss on Tyrant Weeks does hurt a lot. Okay, I think that's about it for this dungeon. And I will show you the general talent build I've been running and what I might run starting next week on Fort. On Tyrant Weeks, this is generally what I run. You can opt to take out a point for Pulverize. I am of the... Okay, to be honest, on this dungeon, because it's a low density dungeon, Twin Moonfire might be better than Thorns, but usually speaking, Thorns does a bit more. Either way, doesn't matter. You're gonna have to take out one of these points for Pulverize, or I mean, you could take out Galactic Guardian and hold Twin Moonfire. You're gonna have to take out one of these 3 for Pulverize if you feel a little weak and you want that extra defensive for the 3rd boss. And then this is for Tyran. You can also, I guess, take out some of these points right here for a bit more, what's it called, defensiveness on your bark skin, 5% more DR on the bark skin, or more frenzied regions for the 3rd boss. This is entirely up to you. I would not go Earth Warden though, because nothing really melees hard in this dungeon at all, except for the last boss. Alright. And then as far as Fort Weeks go, with a new Tooth and Claw being fixed on magic damage, I definitely will try out Raise. And I have yet to decide which points I'm going to be dropping to get Raise, but it will most likely be one of the Moonfire talents, and I'm going to grab Raise like this. Alright, that is it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. It went a little longer than I wanted to, but good luck with your Temple of the Jade Serpent keys, and hopefully you guys can get those times in.